Have you ever heard a guitar sound that just, well, it seems to defy physics? A note that suddenly blossoms into this perfect, ethereal harmony, or maybe a solo that just dives like a dramatic, almost siren-like wail before soaring right back up. That right there is the magic of really creative sonic manipulation. And today we're going to dive into how just one single compact device can twist, bend, and multiply a guitar's sound, how it can open up totally new musical landscapes. So our mission on this deep dive is to explore a really fascinating piece of music tech history, the Boss PS5 Supershifter. We'll be uncovering its origins, its surprisingly powerful features, its impact, which was pretty significant, and its enduring legacy. Because this wasn't just, another pedal hitting the market. It arrived with a really clear ambition. It was aiming for, well, greater precision in digital pitch shifting, but also pushing into those dramatic, often iconic whammy-style pitch bends and even intelligent harmonization. It was definitely a statement piece for Boss at the time.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
When the Boss PS5 Supershifter landed in 2001, it was stepping into a lineage, sure, but it was also clearly charting a very new course. What exactly was Bosch trying to achieve with this release, especially when you look at what came before the PS3? What was the big shift there?
Yeah, that pivot is exactly what's so interesting here. The PS5, released in 2001, it was indeed the successor to the PS3 pitch shifter delay, no question. But the whole design philosophy, it was a pretty dramatic departure. See, the PS3 was known for being kind of quirky, experimental, which, often translates to a certain unpredictable charm,
Yeah,
right?
it had that reputation.
Exactly. But the PS5, it was specifically engineered for cleaner, more accurate digital pitch shifting. That was the goal. And it wasn't just about refinement. It significantly expanded its capabilities right from the get-go. We're talking about bringing real-time whammy-style pitch bends controlled with an expression pedal.
Into a compact Boss pedal.
Into a compact Boss pedal,
Yeah.
And sophisticated intelligent harmonization, too. That really set a new benchmark for what a pedal like this could do back then. Its production run was pretty long, actually, from 2001 right up until around 2010. That's when it was eventually replaced by the PS6 Harmonist.
Okay, so it really does sound like this wasn't just a small update. It was a deliberate move away from that sort of experimental unpredictability towards a focus on precision and, well, expanded, almost studio-grade functionality. But did that focus on accuracy mean Boss might have lost some of the unique, maybe unexpected sonic character of those earlier, glitchier pedals? Or was it purely seen as an upgrade?
That's a really good question. And it kind of gets to the heart of what makes each of these pedals unique, doesn't it? Well, the PS5 definitely aimed for cleaner shifts. It didn't completely strip away all its character. You have to remember, early digital pitch shifting, even when it was aiming for accuracy, often had this distinct sonic fingerprint. Sometimes it was a slight digital sheen, maybe a subtle tracking artifact, that musicians, as we'll see, actually learned to love and even exploit creatively. So while it was definitely a move towards more refined algorithms, it still kept this distinct digital personality. That made it different from, say, pure analog effects or even the later, much more pristine digital units. It was a clear upgrade in terms of reliability and features, for sure, but it maintained a certain charm that honestly still appeals to a lot of players today.
That's a great distinction to make. It wasn't just a simple tech march forward then. It had its own thing going on. And this pedal, it clearly wasn't just a one-trick pony either. It was incredibly versatile for its time, packing a lot into that little Boss box. So what were its core functions? What kind of sonic alchemy could a guitarist actually do with this thing that really earned it the name Supershifter?
Oh, it absolutely lived up to that Supershifter name. It packed 4 main modes, and each one offered these distinct sonic possibilities that, frankly, felt incredibly advanced for the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Okay, first up, you had the pitch shifter mode. This was your sort of bread and butter function. It generates harmony notes at fixed intervals. You could go up to plus or minus 2 octaves, which is pretty standard. But the real power here was being able to mix your dry signal with the shifted one.
The blend control, yeah.
Exactly. So you could create anything from this really thick, almost subtle doubling effect
Oh,
to full-on harmonized leads. Made it sound like a second guitarist just magically appeared, playing in perfect sync with you.
How?
Then you had the harmonist mode. Now, this was arguably the most revolutionary feature for its time. It really liberated guitarists.
How so? What made it so different?
Well, before this, if you wanted a harmony, you usually pick a fixed interval, say a perfect fifth up. But as soon as your chord progression moved, maybe to a different key or chord, that fixed interval could suddenly sound really jarring, dissonant even. It just clashed.
Yeah.
yeah, I know that sound. Not always pleasant.
Not at all. The PS5 changed that by introducing intelligent harmonies. It wasn't just blindly shifting the pitch anymore. It actually understood the key and scale you were playing in,
Wow, okay.
which meant it could generate musically correct thirds, fifths, or sixths that automatically tracked your playing harmonically. Imagine creating this full, lush harmony part in real time and knowing it would always sound musical without needing a second guitarist or, a PhD in music theory. That's the real takeaway here. It puts sophisticated, harmonically intelligent stuff into the hands of any guitarist right there on their pedal board.
That is a huge leap for a compact pedal. Moving from just shifting pitches blindly to actually understanding musical keys and scales, that really democratized access to more complex sounds, didn't it?
Absolutely. Huge deal. The third mode was detune mode. This one was a bit more subtle. It created these slight pitch shifts, just a tiny bit above or below your original signal. Think of it like simulating rich chorus effects or just thickening up your sound, almost like a natural doubling. But with that slight kind of dreamy waver that detuning gives you, adds shimmer, dimension, without being an obvious pitch shift.
Nice for texture.
Precisely. And finally, the really unique feature for a Boss pedal back then, the Dive Bomb Tremolo Arm Simulation Mode. This literally simulated those dramatic whammy bar pitch bends.
The big ones.
Yeah, the deep guttural dive bombs, or those soaring shifts way up or down. And crucially, it had an expression pedal input. This wasn't just some preset effect you turned on or off. You could actually control those whammy-style bends in real time with your foot. That gave you incredible expressive power. And it put a very sought-after effect, previously dominated by, well, other brands.
Right, Digitech mainly.
Exactly. It put that capability right within the Boss ecosystem.
That real-time control with an expression pedal, yeah, that's absolutely a game changer for expressive playing. And to manage all this sonic power, what were the actual knobs, the essential controls a player would be fiddling with?
Right. The controls were pretty straightforward but powerful. You had your essential balance knob for mixing the dry and effect signals, critical for any pitch pedal to get the blend just right. Then the shift harmony knob. That's where you'd select your interval in the pitch shifter or harmonist modes. You also had a dedicated key knob, super important for defining the musical key for those intelligent harmonies, making sure everything sounded, well, correct.
Makes sense.
Then the mode selector knob, just a rotary switch to choose between pitch shifter, harmonist, detune, or that tremolo arm mode. And of course, that critical expression input jack for plugging in a foot pedal to control those whammy-style pitch bends.
It really sounds like Boss was genuinely trying to cram a mini studio's worth of pitch effects right onto a guitarist's pedal board. And to really grasp just how pivotal that was, packing all that control, all that variety into one small unit, we need context. We need to see it not just on its own, but as this crucial link in a long, evolving chain. So let's connect those dots. Let's trace that Boss Pitch Shifter family tree, understand where the PS5 truly fit and what came before and after it.
That's exactly right. When we talk about putting a mini studio's worth of effects at your feet, you got to look back at Boss's earlier steps, because the PS5 definitely built on a very specific lineage, and that shaped its ambition. The journey really kicked off with the PS2. That was out from 1988 to 1994. This was Boss's very first compact pitch shifter and delay pedal, and it was widely known for being, well, glitchy and experimental.
The charmingly unpredictable one.
Exactly. It had this raw, almost untamed sound. Some musicians loved it because of its unique character, even if it wasn't always perfectly precise or clean. Then came the PS3, which ran from 1995 to 2001, right before the PS5. This pedal pushed things a bit further. It added multi-voice pitch shifting and ambient delays. And while it still had its own quirks, it became a genuine cult favorite. Its unique blend of pitch effects and these lush, swirling delays, it created these incredibly atmospheric soundscapes. Musicians really gravitated towards it for specific textures. It wasn't about perfect tracking. It was about inspiring new, weird sounds.
I remember seeing those pop up on boards for ambient stuff.
Totally. Which brings us right back to our focus today, the PS5, produced from 2001 to months to 2010. As we've been saying, this was the pedal that brought more accurate digital pitch shifting, intelligent harmonization, and whammy-style bends to the forefront in the compact Boss unit. It really aimed for a level of precision and expanded versatility that its predecessors kind of hinted at, but didn't quite deliver in the same polished, reliable way. It was truly a bridge, wasn't it? Consolidating earlier ideas and definitely pointing towards the future. And finally, its successor, the PS6 Harmonist. That's been in production from 2010 right up to the present day. Now, this pedal really expanded on the foundation the PS5 laid. It introduced polyphonic tracking. Huge deal, meaning it could analyze and shift multiple notes at once, not just single lead lines.
Ah, so chords and complex voicings.
Exactly. Plus, it added three-part harmonies, a super bend mode for even more extreme pitch bends, and, generally more refined algorithms. It really pushed the boundaries again for what a harmonist pedal could do.
So you can absolutely see the clear progression there, from the initial kind of experimental steps with the PS2 to the quirky cult appeal of the PS3. Then the PS5, hitting that sweet spot, that balance of accuracy and expanded versatility. And finally, on to the even more refined, more advanced features of the PS6. This evolution really shows that Boss was committed to pushing pitch-shifting tech in a compact format.
What do you think was the biggest takeaway for guitarists watching this happen, right there on their pedal boards?
The biggest takeaway, I think, was the increasing accessibility of complex sonic ideas. That's the core of it. What used to require bulky, really expensive rack gear, those big refrigerator-sized units often stuck in studios.
Yeah, the stuff you needed a mortgage for.
Yeah.
Right. That stuff was steadily being shrunk down into compact, affordable pedals you could just stomp on. Ugh. The PS5, in particular, really solidified this idea that advanced pitch manipulation, from intelligent harmonies to those dynamic whammy effects, could be a standard part of any guitarist's setup, not just for the pros with huge budgets or specific technical know-how. It was, like you said earlier, a real democratization of sound.
That's a fantastic way to put it, the democratization of sound. But okay, it's not just about the tech specs, is it? It never is. It's about how musicians actually use these tools, how they made incredible sounds and pushed creative boundaries. So who are some of the notable users of the PS5? How did they harness its power in ways that really mattered musically?
Yeah, this is crucial because the real impact is always in the hands of the artists.
Hmm.
And the PS5 definitely found a significant home among alternative and experimental musicians throughout the 2000s. Players who were keen to explore new sonic textures, stuff beyond just traditional overdrive and delay. One of the most famous examples, Johnny Greenwood of Radiohead.
Ah, yes. Makes sense.
He's renowned for his extensive use of experimental pitch effects, just generally. He used them to craft some of Radiohead's most iconic and frankly otherworldly guitar sounds. And the PS5 was definitely part of his arsenal during that period. It let him create those unique, sometimes unsettling, sometimes incredibly beautiful textures. They became such a signature part of their sound. Another icon who used the PS5 was Kevin Shields of My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, definitely fits the shoegaze vibe.
Absolutely. His work, especially in shoegaze, that style, characterized by just dense, atmospheric, often ethereal guitar soundscapes, it heavily employed pitch shifting and dive bomb effects. The PS5's ability to emulate a whammy bar in real time, combined with its other pitch-shifting tricks, was pretty instrumental in contributing to that signature My Bloody Valentine wall of sound. And beyond just big names, the harmonist mode on the PS5 became something of a secret weapon for a lot of math rock and progressive players.
Oh, interesting application. Why them specifically?
Well, it allowed them to create these really complex dual guitar harmonies without needing a second guitarist. Imagine trying to pull off intricate, perfectly harmonized guitar lines in just a trio setup. It's tough.
Yeah, near impossible live sometimes.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
PS5 essentially filled the role of this phantom second guitarist. It democratized those intricate arrangements and made advanced harmonic structures achievable for a single performer. That had huge practical implications for bands writing complex stuff or working with smaller lineups.
Those examples really nail it. They show how the PS5 genuinely enabled artists to achieve sounds that might have been impossible or just incredibly cumbersome only years before. It wasn't just a new color in the paint box, it really facilitated new genres, new techniques. It directly expanded the sonic palette available to guitarists, shows how tech directly influences art, sometimes in really unexpected ways. So, okay, let's pull back to the bigger picture then. What does all this mean? Beyond its features, beyond the specific musicians who used it, what was the Boss PS5's real legacy, its cultural impact on the whole world of guitar effects?
Well, connecting it to that bigger picture, the PS5 had this multifaceted impact that definitely resonated for years. First, you got to point out, it was a Boss's first serious competitor to the Digitech Whammy, specifically for offering those real-time pitch bends with an expression pedal.
Right, taking on the champ.
Kind of, yeah. For a long time, the Whammy was the pedal for that sound. BS5 provided a really compelling alternative from a major brand, diversifying the options for musicians, which is always good. Its harmonist mode was equally significant. It was genuinely groundbreaking for compact pedals in the early 2000s. Before the PS5, getting reliable, scale-based harmonies without bulky rack gear, that was a luxury, often reserved for studios or these huge, complex touring rigs.
Yeah, not your average player's setup.
Exactly. The PS5 put that power right on the stage, right on the pedal board, made sophisticated harmonies accessible to a much, much broader audience. That was a huge shift. Now look, it's fair to say that today it's somewhat overshadowed by the PS6. Technology moves on. The PS6 improved the tracking, added polyphony, more features. We know that.
Sure, the newer model is always going to have advancements.
Right. However, and this is crucial, the PS5 still has this reputation for quirky, characterful digital pitch tones.
Right.
It's not clinically perfect by today's standards, maybe, and that's precisely part of its ongoing charm for many people. It carved out its own unique sonic identity. So, to kind of summarize based on our sources, the PS5 was a versatile digital pitch processor that combined polyphonic pitch shifting, intelligent harmonies, detune effects, and whammy-style bends in one compact pedal. That's what it did. And while its algorithms were perhaps less refined than modern units, it absolutely remains a beloved oddity in Boss's lineup. It's seen as powerful, creative, and historically really important in the whole evolution of pitch pedals. It's kind of a testament to the fact that absolute technical perfection isn't always the only measure of a truly inspiring creative tool. Sometimes character wins.
It's so fascinating how a pedal can be both, a stepping stone to more advanced tech, and yet still hold its own unique charm, its own characterful sound, as you put it. It really did carve out its own specific niche in that digital effects landscape. Proves that sometimes, a little imperfection adds a whole lot of personality. Well, we've taken a pretty deep dive today into the Boss PS5 Super Shifter, a pedal that truly marked a pivotal moment in compact guitar effects, wouldn't you say? From its ambitious design, those groundbreaking modes for the time, to its adoption by genre-defining artists, it definitely left an undeniable mark on how guitarists approach pitch manipulation and expand their sonic possibilities.
Indeed, it really does hold that dual identity, doesn't it? On one hand, a significant historical innovation. It pushed boundaries, offered new creative avenues, definitely paved the way for future developments in pitch-shifting tech. Yet at the same time, it's cherished as this beloved oddity, specifically for its distinct, sometimes quirky digital character. It's a potent reminder that sometimes the imperfections, the little glitches, or unique artifacts are exactly what make a tool truly inspiring, gives it a unique voice.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. As technology just races forward and effects pedals become more and more, perfect in their tracking, their algorithms, what do you think is lost? Or maybe what's gained when a pedal like the PS5 retains those quirky, characterful digital tones? Tones that might inspire musicians in ways a clinically perfect algorithm just might not. Think about that next time you hear a guitar sound that seems just a little bit off, but, in the most wonderful way possible.